Now, you guys remember like a month ago when Kodak Black was arrested for supposedly trying to swallow some cocaine? Well, according to some new lab test results of the substance that was found on Kodak Black that day, it came back that in fact it's not cocaine, but it's oxycodone. And according to his lawyer, he has prescription for that. Sheesh. Hey, yo, so free my boy Yak, man. If it wasn't Yak that Yak had, free that boy Yak. That boy needs to come home and drink some champagne, man. He had to spend New Year's in jail. Come on, man.
Get him out of here!
But whether it was oxys or it was coke, listen, Yak, you gotta do better than this, man. How you gonna be on the side of the road or outside, passed out in your car because you just out here wilding, doing too much of that stuff, you know what I mean? Doing too much of that stuff, man. Anyway, man, his lawyer did put out a statement on Instagram and he says, as stated when this new case first was filed, this was not cocaine and the officer was lying about his observations. We finally got the lab report. It's oxycodone that Kodak had a prescription for and not an illegal substance. Knowing that the officer substantially misrepresented his observations, the Broward State Attorney's Office still filed the charge. Unbelievable, and it will not be tolerated. This level of abuse of power by the arresting officer is disgusting. We will be seeking a new bond hearing and addressing these unethical practices by the police department. I mean, listen, if this is actually true, it's also kind of scary because you start to think, if these officers are doing this to people that have the money to pay for the lawyers to do the investigations, imagine the people that are locked up in jail right now for things that they didn't even do or things that they didn't even have because they don't have the money to pay for a good lawyer to do all this extra work. Also, Kodak Black has to walk on this because if you guys don't remember, he is out on a pardon and I believe he's on probation. So this will violate his probation and he will have to go back to jail and continue serving the time that he was originally supposed to serve. Here's what lawyers for worker had to say on this whole situation.
Kodak Black update. Hey, remember that police officer wrote a report? I seen Kodak eating a bunch of cocaine, felony charge. Yeah, it turns out it wasn't cocaine. Lab results are back. That was oxycodone. Kodak's lawyer saying that Kodak has a prescription for oxycodone. Question becomes, if a police officer writes in a report that I found this man eating cocaine and it turned out not to be cocaine, can we believe the rest of the report? Well, that report says a couple things. It says the way this car was parked, I had to go pull up on him. He was blocking traffic. Was he? You just thought some white powder was cocaine, it was oxycodone. You sure he wasn't pulled up in front of his man's house on a 2-lane road where if one car is stopped in front of a house, you just go around it like you do on many roads? Anyway, the point remains that if the officer, and I don't know what the basis the officer had was for saying it was cocaine in the first place. A lot of times people write in the report, we field tested it, we used some sort of chemical, I smelled it, I tasted it based on my experience of being a 5-year coke user, I know. They have to say something for why he thinks it was cocaine. This man just said it was cocaine, it wasn't, and now there's good reason to question everything this man says, and this is big. Kodak was out on a pardon for a federal gun charge on supervised release. If you get in trouble on supervised release, you can get violated by the judge. The pardon goes away. You go back, you serve the original sentence. That would be just completely a shame for Kodak to get out on a pardon and serve that original sentence.
Now listen, man, if Kodak actually walks on this, I have to say, Kodak is one of the luckiest rappers when it comes to court cases because he seems to be able to slip out of a lot of situations that he gets himself into. Like, just think about it. Like, who would have ever thought that Donald Trump would have pardoned Kodak Black? But hopefully Kodak Black does get to come home. But we also got to remember, Kodak Black has a substance abuse problem, meaning that whatever he's using, he's abusing it. And although Kodak Black can come home, you guys got to remember, he's probably in more danger at home than he is in jail. And why is that? Is because if he's home, he can always go back to using all type of substance. But if he's in jail, I mean, they say they can get it in there, but it ain't that easy. It's not the same. He won't be abusing it at the same rate that he is at home. Hopefully Kodak Black finds some help because this is something that if he doesn't find any help anytime soon, it can end deadly.